And welcome to week 3 of Britball with the Breens. Again, it's just the single Breen today. Sean might be joining us later. I'm not 100% sure. He's a busy man with a busy life and a busy schedule, unfortunately. But we want to try and keep this consistent this year and get back on the show. I have a guest with me tonight. I have Coach Sam Astley from the Sandwell Steelers. How are you doing tonight, Sam?
I'm all good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah. As I say, can't complain too much. You've taken over the Sandwell Steelers. When did you take over there?
I took over midway through the Prem season, so that was like what 2000. COVID's really messed up my year, when we did things in years. So it would have been like what 2022. Like midway through 22 is what I want to say.
Yeah, because 2020 was cancelled. 2021 was that weird butchered season where teams got put together geographically, and you had the Crew Railroaders playing the Tamworth Phoenix.
24 months, man. It was a season that was great.
You just start looking at it and go, like you look back and just like, yeah, there was so much of a bad idea about that. Like, whoever thought this was a smart move?
Yeah, who looked at that and they're like, oh, that's working okay, then. That's good days.
But it's all right. We don't have to travel very far. Yeah, okay, I get you, but it's still not a good idea, you know what I mean? It wasn't the best.
No, it wasn't.
And then after that, so it'll be the season after that when you got underway in the Prem. Obviously, it's been a difficult time since COVID for Sandwell. It was a very good team, very competitive. We're always there or thereabouts getting promoted to the Prem. And then when they did, obviously COVID happened. Assuming afterwards, a lot of people retired, moved away and such. Like it seemed to happen on a much larger scale for quite a lot of places as well. I think people after COVID and after a year out just thought, I don't really want to go back into it. No. You suddenly realize what it feels like to have a body that's not aching for the rest of the week after you play a game. I think is part of it as well. Then obviously the difficult season in the Prem, you had a difficult season last year. But the whole way through, I've kind of followed yourselves. I speak to Coach Butler quite a lot about offense and the likes. And it's been really cool, really great to kind of see like the work that you guys have been putting in to sort of rebuild the Sandwell Steelers program. How's that been for you guys?
To say it's been difficult would be like a bit of an understatement. So when the years before COVID, we had like a really good relationship with the Birmingham Lions. And we had a lot of top guys come in, coaching wise and playing wise. We were fortunate to go through a good period where we had like 3 unbelievable QBs, even at like Div 2 and Div 1 level, which was like Johnny Glover. Then we moved to like Tristan Varney, and we had Callum in there as well. So like we had like 3 unbelievable QBs. We had receivers to match it. Our defense was on point all the way through. Looking back on that now, it was more of it was an unsustainable model in terms of when you have relationship links like that. When something like COVID came in and took it all down, what we're having to do now at the Steelers is build everything organically. We had 2 really, really bad head coach hires in a row, which then ended up like costing the club players and etc. We got to a point where we finished that Prem season with 14 players away at Manchester, and I genuinely thought that was the end of it, because I was, sat on the sideline, and we released that statement after that game because I was really disappointed with the Steelers as a program that Manchester had to pay. I think that was the first year that they won the Prem North, and then went on to win Britball. I really think that, like, I looked at it and I was like, there's no way that they should have had to play 12-minute rolling quarters or whatever it was in the Prem North to facilitate the fact that we only had 14 players. So then I was stood on the sideline and I was like, well, how do we turn this around? It was a case of last season, we obviously got relegated. I brought Coach Butler in. who's been there for like, he'd been with the Steelers before. It was a guy that I really knew really well, wanted to work with. He'd come and down and watched some of the Prem games as well, so he knew what the situation of the club was. We had, we had talks and chats. I had to get coaching staff in, so I got Coach Melbourne from Crew, met him at the coaching convention. He was looking for another team to coach with, so he came on board. Then I knew a couple of guys from Worcester Royals, the Black Knights. They're not obviously there anymore, but
the
Steph was with the Black Knights. Yeah, he was with the Black Knights, and I convinced him to come over. So then all of a sudden, I had a coaching staff. Now we then had to get bodies in, and I mean bodies in terms of like we had to build a squad, and that meant going out recruiting pure rookies, people who'd never played the sport before, guys who were probably at like teams in and around our similar stature as to like where we were in the league, maybe a couple of like Div 2 teams, and then we had to like rebuild everything. We had to build them up. We all know what Britball's like in terms of like you get the guys coming in when you're winning games. It's really hard to attract ready-made ballers when you're plummeting through the leagues and getting beat up every week. So I'll put massive emphasis on me on the coaching staff, developing players and coaching these guys up. We then got put in a division last year, which was like arguably one of the best Division 1s I've ever seen. You know, we had Nottingham, Sheffield had just come down from the Prem. Bulls are in there who are an everlasting like hard force anyway.
Chester as well, wasn't it?
Chester and Northants had just come up as well. So it was a real bludgeoning for us, but all the guys stuck with it. Like we knew as a coaching staff, we knew that we were going to go 0-10, but it was about building the culture, building the team, getting those guys battle hardened. And as it got better throughout the season, like there was points where like towards the end of the season, like we were winning games at half time, where that's something that we hadn't done since like before the COVID season.
Yeah.
And now this year 2 into a 3-year plan, and we're just like the guys are battle hardened. We've managed to recruit some real good guys. Coaching, we've got some real good coaches that have come on board. We've obviously rolled into year 2, brought the playbook over nice and easy, and we got our first win since 2019. Our first official league win since 2019 last week, or the week in week 1 versus Leigh Miners.
Yeah, cracking game of football by the looks of it as well. You know, like what was the final score from it again? 25-23 or something, was it?
Yes, 25-23,
yeah. So cracking game of football, and obviously Leigh kind of made some pretty big steps last year as well, from their standpoint. So no, it was good to see. I was really pleased because I say, you know, I have followed kind of the work you guys have been putting in, so it was pleasing on my part, kind of as an outsider, to see that reward for you guys and getting that first win under your belt, because you know it's a challenge, and a lot of teams, I guess, in your situation would probably have chucked it, right? That it probably went, you know, this is going to be too much. It's going to be too difficult for us to kind of rebound from this. And probably have just called it, you know. So that was really good to see that, and I was really pleased to see the result come in. So yeah, I was glad to see that from your guys' standpoint, to get off the season on a winning start.
I think we deserved it in terms of it was a weird game because obviously we were 25-10 up top. Craig's just giving out the big shout outs there. Love Craig. We were 25-10 up, and then all of a sudden people need to understand that like this team and these players hadn't been in that situation for a long time. So when Leigh started to come back and put the pressure on, like there was nervousness among the players, among the coaching staff. Like we all like, you know, I was there and I was like, I've been around Britball like my entire life, and even I was a little bit like, you know, feeling the pressure of wanting to get that first win. But we had a great win. We held out. We stopped them on 4th down. We got the ball back and we nailed the game out. So it was really rewarding for us as a team and coaches. But and then, you know, we're facing a new challenge now of like trying to go 2-0 for the first time since 2019. And again, the players don't know how to do that. They haven't experienced winning 2 games on the bounce. So we're coaching them all the time. We're working hard with them all the time. I think what you mentioned in terms of most clubs would have packed it in. I'm a massive believer in like the 1%, being in the 1% club, and I would do anything for this team to win. And that includes like from a recruitment side, from a coaching side, improving myself, improving the coaching staff, improving the players, giving them everything that we can to make them better as a team and players. So it's a really important emphasis on us for development and wanting to take that extra step.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? That when it comes to it, the Steelers have been, lucky to have guys like yourself that are determined to make it work, because, we're all volunteers here in Britball as well, right? Like, if you don't have those people at the top that are really committed to making these things work, then it won't. And that's the kind of the reality of it. So, yeah, I'm pleased to see that, and obviously, I did pick you guys in week 1, so you were one of the few results that I've had right so far this season. I guess I'm out to. I should probably be apologising to about half a dozen teams, because I am off to a shocking start this year. It is very out of character for me, to be honest. I am normally pretty consistent, but I said to you before coming on, I'm going to blame the year out in the States when I was away from Britball.
Definitely.
My goodness, am I having a bad year? So I'm hoping to turn it around. So, as long as it'd be good if I could keep picking Samwell and you could keep keeping me right as well. That'd be quite good. It's a good and interesting point from David Yates, who I work with at Clyde Valley. I think it's really hard to kind of show just how hard it was, I think, COVID for a lot of teams. I mean, like, you talked about players walking away en masse, I guess, due to retirement or whatever. And it's an interesting one in a way, because how I think it showed up how teams were built. And you made the point about how it wasn't organic at Sandwell. And the teams that had those youth and junior programs and everything, and they came out of it, let's say, less, with less issues. Whereas the teams that were less organic or whatever, then they've come out with some serious problems. I mean, I'm dealing with them at Aberdeen at the moment, right? We've come out of COVID and never really kind of recovered from that. So, it's a challenge it was a challenge for a lot of teams, and I can certainly sympathise with where the Steelers were with it, because we're kind of now going through it again ourselves on this end. I've had a question in for you here from Russell. How hard is it to retain players with other teams in close proximity to yourselves?
For me, it's not difficult. The players that want to be at Sandwell are the players that will be at Sandwell. And I've said this from day one, is that anybody is welcome to transfer to any other team if they do not want to be here. I went through hell and back in that Prem season of trying to chase players, trying to get them to, just give us one more game. And it sucked. And, I've said this to the guys. We want people that want to be at Sandwell. I want people who want to play for me and the other coaches. I offer the guys a really, really good program. Like, some of the stuff that we do is more than a lot of other teams in the country. We invest our subs directly back into the team and the equipment and the practice. So I message players from Prem teams all the time about coming to play for us. I don't worry about player retention at all, because if you give me like 20 dudes, 25 dudes who are coachable and are committed and want to get that 1% better every time they step on the practice field with us, then I'll take those 25 dudes over, over people that don't want to be there. I'd say that's the most important thing for teams in the UK, is that don't worry about people. People will always jump ship, regardless of what team or what level. If you can get guys to believe in what you're doing and back you and be those guys, then you'll be absolutely sound. So it's not hard retaining other teams. it's not hard retaining players for other teams because the guys are on our roster for tomorrow for Lancashire away. Those are the dudes, man.
Yeah. And that's it. It's a good answer. Hopefully that satisfied you, Russell, because that was a really good answer, that one. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, like, one thing that always frustrated me, and I'm still having this issue now, and maybe you've seen some of this before, is when you're talking about getting guys down to practice and all this jazz. It's a Britball problem, right? A lot of teams have it, getting guys to come down, but more than that, I have a really serious anger issue when it comes to guys unable to click on a button to say their availability. Even if the answer is no, I cannot. It sets me off in a bit of a rage, does this one?
I saw you tweeting the other day.
I'm just like, but how do these people function in day-to-day life when they can't even click a button to say if they're available or not? I can't. Like,
that's what being a coach in Britball is. Like, half the time you're babysitting people to that level of like even trying to get them to reply to polls and stuff like that. That's where we're at. But it's super frustrating. I get that totally.
But especially when, like, you're adults, guys. Come on, man. We're not asking a difficult task.
Nope.
It's just yeah. I mean, I say you seen me this week. I was not happy about it. So I was it was one of those. This one from Craig about that last game in 2022. Yeah. And that's sometimes that's all it needs to kind of kickstart things in a way, is just showing that bit of grit, bit of determination. Russell's thanking you for your answer as well. I don't know if he's speaking about me just now, but that might be accurate, to be fair. And just to answer your question, Aaron, as well, Sean was coaching at a swimming competition all day, so he doesn't know what time he'll get home at, and when he gets home, whether he has the free time available to join us. That's how I'll choose to phrase that one. So I say 12 hours at a swimming pool, it's pretty damn exhausting as well. Been there and done that myself as well. So yeah, he might be here, he might not. If he pops up, it'd be good to see him come in, but we'll kind of just see how it goes. With that being said, we should probably just crack on, although I have just noticed I have not downloaded the Game of the Week picture for this week, which is a bit of a naughty one on my part, but I know what game it was, so it's all good. It is Glasgow Tigers and the Inverclyde Goliaths, but I can get it. I can just, nothing's happening here off screen. I promise. I'm not doing anything. I'm just carrying on and talking about football as we should. And I'm definitely not downloading a picture and sending it to myself. The Game of the Week. It's weird. It's very unlike me because I was doing the prep for it and I just totally forgot to actually put the picture on. Tell me about it, but especially since it's two Scottish teams this week, they won't thank me for forgetting about the actual image when I do it, so I'll just send that through to myself and then I'll add it in before I share my screen and we'll pretend nothing actually happened. It was there the whole time. Magic. Yeah, no, no one ever doubted it was there. It was there the whole time. It's all good. I don't know what Sean's excuses are for his picks, Aaron, to be honest. To be fair, I don't even know what my excuse is. I know I'm blaming the States, but normally I'm pretty quick to pick up on a few things. But normally even by week 2, you're starting to identify the teams that are winning and stuff like that and how it's going to work out. But yeah, it's just not gone that way for me so far. Just not really working well at all. But we'll get there. I'll improve. I'll put the effort in to make sure I'm better. But also, if you've got any information on games or whatever on teams, please feel free to shout out to me because I'm always helpful. I'm always grateful for receiving as much info as I can get. So I don't look like I know absolutely nothing. So that's always good. But I shall crack on with this. I might have broken it. Put to share screen and everything stopped working. There we go. That one. And share. And I shall then do this. Get a bit of inception there. And here we go. That should be up there. Okay, so nothing changes this week. Thankfully, we're at week 3 and we haven't had anything falling apart yet. Still have the 3 teams: Crew Railroaders, Abbey next, sad face, and the Southeast Squadron. And yeah, nothing much to add there. As for our play of the week, again, I haven't really had anything sent in, but I didn't want to go chasing it when my laptop simply cannot handle via the stream. It'll just break it. It's old and it's pretty cheap, so it would just shatter into a million pieces and break the whole thing. So we're just not even going to try it. But we will get something up and running, even if we have to start sharing it sort of on our socials as well. And we have the game of the week is the Inverclyde Goliaths, which I don't know what's happened to the logo there, and the Glasgow Tigers. So for this one, we had, I don't want to say a shock upset last week, because the shock was kind of seeing the Highland Stags lose to Clyde Valley, but then the sheer volume of points that the Goliaths put up in Highland last week was a bit of a stunner. So, you know, they've obviously managed to put a strong squad together. They're a good team, and you know, I know a few people looked at how they ended last year, but trust me, when it comes to these guys, that you can't take last year's word on it. You know,
I think a couple of guys are saying that they can't see anything on the screen.
You're not seeing anything? Oh, no.
No.
Disaster. What is going on? I know why, because I'm not sharing it. There we go.
Yeah.
There.
Chris just wants it.
Listen. I mean, yes. I know. I just can't help myself, you know. You know, I just want to be the center of attention. That's all it is. Yeah, thanks for that. So there we go. There's the picture. There. Do you see it now? This time should be. There we go. Yeah. So, yes, Inverclyde Goliaths and Glasgow Tigers. Now, obviously, Glasgow, you know, I believe they were second division last year, barely to Highland last year. In fact, were they? It was definitely between Highland and Glasgow. Yeah, it was second. Don't know why I forgot that. But that, you know, although there was the Highland losing to Clyde Valley on the road, you know, 17-7 or 17, something along those lines, but the manner of the amount of points that the Goliaths put up last week is terrifying, to be quite frank. I know Highland were, you know, obviously still reeling a bit from that Clyde Valley game, but I was really impressed with the scoreline from the Goliaths. And quite frankly, I am a proper fence sitter on this one, because I do not know what way it's going to go. I really want to back the Goliaths, but I've heard nothing out of the Tigers, and they were a very good squad last year. That was the big thing, right? They had a big squad, big bodies, big offensive line unit. I don't know. I really want to just say the Goliaths, but I'm also on a really, really cold streak, so I don't want to follow my gut anymore. I'm going to go with the Tigers, but I think this is going to be mighty close. I really do.
I think I'm going to go with the Tigers as well, because I think when you end the season like they did last year, you know, finishing second, like they played some really good football last year, put up some good points. I think you get to a stage where you have to, where you want to push for the next level. And these are the kind of games where you can make a statement, you can lay your stall out. I think, like, I really, you know, like you said, that they had some big boys up front for the O-line last year. I think it could be the Tigers for this one.
Yeah, it's just, as I say, I mean, I'm sure if I'm wrong on this one, the Goliaths will be straight into my mentions on this. And rightly so, I deserve it. But yeah, you know, we've seen some things comments made about the Goliaths, and as I say, like I know some of the guys well enough that you can't write this team off based on what happened last year. Like they're a really good team. They always had some good offensive power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is the Tigers' first game, and I did consider that as a factor as well. But I think that's why it'll be tight. But yeah, I know I sound proper wishy-washy. I'm aware of that, but I'm open to being wrong on this one. But I'm going to back the Tigers just based on that sort of like depth that they had last year and the strength of the big boys up front. But yeah,
I think if the
I've always been the star.
Yeah,
it's my
just drop the S off the title and just have it Britball with the Breen. That's all you with the Breen. That's all you want. Yeah, but I think at the same time, if Inverclyde do happen to pull off a win, I don't think anyone will be shocked either. I think that's the.
And as you say, it's a statement, right? You look at these teams, Clyde Valley got a good win in week 1, Inverclyde got a good win in week 2. If the win in week 3 against Glasgow or whatever, then you start looking at it going, this is a seriously competitive division this year. Like, I mean, it was competitive last year between the top 2, but you start looking at it going, we could have 3 teams possibly fighting out for the title here, and that's
what you want, isn't it? Like that's exactly 100%.
It means I'm wrong even more than not, but it's not about me. It's about the game. Yeah. So okay, right, and then we'll go on to the Premiership North to start with, as we always do. We start with Prem. Now, this is a huge game as well. Now.
Mm-hmm.
I have been wrong about the Vikings in week 1. I have been wrong about the Vikings in week 2. Please, Manchester, don't make me be wrong about the Vikings in week 3. I will never live it down. So I know that the Vikings have a quarterback. I believe it's the Durham Saints quarterback they have.
QB,
and a wide receiver from somewhere as well. And by all reports, they are absolutely legit. And, they got a tough ground out win against the Wolves in week 1. They got a good win against the Pirates in week 2. But this is a different beast, right? This is still the Manchester Titans. They've played one game. It was against the Phoenix. They won 38-0. They're still Britball champions.
Yeah. You can't. There's no one. Like there's no reason not to pick the Titans for this one.
Yeah.
I love the Vikings. I think what they're doing is amazing, and I think it's important to shout out as well that like Coach Regan, it's like although they've got the Durham QB and the wide receiver, they tap into like all the universities up there. So like the Raiders, the Mustangs, the Teesside Cougars, like they have a lot of ballers from all of those universities, and they've been building this program for a long time, and it's always a tough game. I think that Manchester will be probably reeling a little bit from Europe as well, which was by the way a great advert for them and British football. Like watching Britball, British teams in Europe is where we should all aspire to be. So I think, but you've got no reason not to pick Manchester, have you? Like I think it'll be Manchester.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Like until Manchester give us a reason not to pick them, you have to back them on this. But I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be closer than the Phoenix game. And I fully expect the Vikings to put up points as well. They've done a brilliant job recruiting. And as I say, I know I mentioned those 2 players, but they're stacked across the board, right? 2 players don't make a team either. So this could be the battle for first and second for all we know in the Premiership North. So and it's in Newcastle. I'm still putting my faith in the Titans, but all of a sudden this game becomes a lot more exciting than you would have thought before a ball was kicked this season. So
absolutely.
you know, and not I didn't expect the Vikings really to struggle or go down, but like I certainly didn't expect them to knock off the Pirates and the Wolves in week 1 and 2. I didn't see that coming. So
The dark horse for this season, I'm telling you,
yeah,
dark horse.
I apologize to the Vikings because I have been wrong twice so far. But please, Manchester, don't make me apologize a third time. It makes me look really, really bad instead of just really bad. But yeah, I think this will be a great game. It was a contender for game of the week, but we still, as I say, it's still that it is the Manchester Titans, and they've not really been in a close game in a long time, so it's hard to doubt them, I guess. But yeah, sure that one might come back to bite us a little bit on the close game front.
Be interesting
for sure. The Premiership South, the Solent Thrashers and the London Blitz. So Solent lost in week 1 to the Hertfordshire Cheetahs, and the London Blitz lost in a shootout to the Cambridgeshire Cats. I mean, Solent were winning, I believe, at halftime against the Cheetahs, and the Cheetahs kind of rallied. I think it was maybe 20 unanswered points. I think it was 10-0 or something at halftime, and 20 unanswered to come back and win that game. London were always in a shootout. Did that game answer the questions that we thought about London and the rumour mill that was going around? Well, given that a lot of what was said was that they lost a lot of players from their secondary, I think given how many points they conceded might be a decent indicator of that being the case. But they still put up a lot of points. And
they're still like, you're still talking about good organisations here. It's not, you know, I think people sometimes like to, they love a story, don't they? So they love to, you know, the Blitz players leaving and the head coach, and then all of a sudden, like, everyone loves to jump on the Blitzer going down train and that kind of thing. And you're talking about like years and years of really, really good football. So how does that all of a sudden, how much does that disappear overnight all of a sudden, if that makes sense? And
it does. It does.
I'm not sure it does.
No, and like, you're not talking about, a squad that if it loses sort of 10 players or whatever, that they've got nobody left. Like, these squads are built to last.
Yeah.
They still have talent. They have the B team as well. And quite frankly, like, might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't want to see the Blitz struggle. I want to see the Blitz fighting out with the Warriors. That's what I want. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like other teams to join that fight, like we're seeing from Bristol this year. But I don't want to see that. It's the London Blitz. And I appreciate there was the Olympians before that and the Ravens possibly before that. But I don't want to see the Blitz struggling. I want to see them competing at the top.
And we're at a stage now where we can't really, realistically, as a league and as a community, we don't want to see teams dropping out the title race. You want to see more teams added to the title race, because if you take Blitz out of it, it's not like you've got a ready-made replacement for them. You want Blitz and Warriors to be there, and then you throw Bristol into the mix as well, and then obviously you've got the Titans. You want teams to start closing that gap. You don't want teams dropping out and even less teams being able to compete.
Yeah, for sure. But in terms of the game against Solent, I don't see the Blitz losing this. I think despite the fact they lost to Cambridgeshire, Cambridgeshire are a good team. They're a good offensive power team.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised, I guess, in a way, at how close it was, given everything that was said before the game and before the season started. I'm nowhere near as worried about the Blitz as I was before that game, which I know sounds weird given that they lost.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
But generally, I'm not worried about them. I think they win this game, and I think they put up points again.
I'm going to go with Solent because I've got a lot of time for Solent. First of all, I've got a lot of boys down there from my time in Portsmouth. Second of all, they came up with us in that final in 2019. So I have spent many, many nights staring at the ceiling thinking, how are Solent in the position that they are and we're where we are? and what did they do right and what did we do wrong. So I've got a lot of love and time for the Thrashers. I really like their O-line down there. One of my boys, Adam McClure, like, I know he leads them. He's a real good guy. I think it'll be a nice, high-scoring, good, happy Britball fixture, but I'm going to slightly lean towards the Thrashers on this one.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like it when there's a balance here as well. I realise I haven't been given Sean's picks, but I also realise that my phone has completely died, and that's why bear with me just a second. Technical glitches all over the place.
I'll hold it. So if anyone's just waiting around, Chris has gone to get Sean's picks, I do believe. I don't know if he's got them written down on the fridge or whether he's emailed them to him. Definitely got on. They got on.
It's just going from bad to worse, isn't it? I'll catch up on Sean's picks later. To be fair, he probably doesn't want me to tell them because he's not an answer. I know.
This show is nothing without Sean, is it? Absolutely nothing.
The organisation just goes down the drain, you know. Here's me, I'm like, I've done all the prep work, everything's fine. I get there and I'm like, actually, no, I haven't. There's all hell's broken loose. I will get there, as I say. You know, see, you need that balance. You know, you need both of us. It's like I'm one half of the brain and he's the other half. So it just doesn't work as just one of us. You know, it needs both of us. Right, on to the NFC 1 Scottish, and I never do this, but again, I've made the mistake. I've actually put the Goliaths game in there, and I don't need to. NFC 1 North, we have the Humber Warhawks and the Yorkshire Rams. Now, I am honest enough to admit that I currently know absolutely nothing about the Yorkshire Rams at the moment. You know, they were, was it 22? They were in the title race to the end of the season, and last year they just weren't. Something along those lines. So I have no idea what I'm expecting out of the Yorkshire Rams. And you know, Humber, they got their win against Sheffield, I believe, and then they lost to Chester. But that's no shame in that defeat either, to be honest.
I do think from last week, I'm pretty sure I read on Twitter that the Warhawks QB1 had a babby the night before. Obviously not him, but him and his partner had a babby the night before the Friday. So I don't think they had the QB1 for the Chester game.
Okay.
So it will be interesting to see if he had been there, what that would have happened, what that would have looked like.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, it was still a close game with Chester. You know, that Humber Warhawks defense looks like it can, you know, do the business. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Warhawks. I think Humber win this game.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And I think the Rams are so that area is such a tumultuous. Like you're not sure what your squad's going to look like from like at the start of every season because like people moving teams and stuff. It's a very Midlands-esque area in terms of like the teams you can go to and play for. So again, like I think the Warhawks have shown enough so far this season that I'm pretty confident in their ability to win games, which is really, really good. You know, I remember playing them, must have been their associate year or maybe like the year they just started. And it's great to see those guys coming through, building up, getting into Div 1 and getting wins as well. So yeah, I'm with you on the Warhawks.
Yeah, and as I say, I will continue to repeat, I'm just glad that they don't play in that hideous red and green gear that they had in their early
That kit was legendary. That was an absolute banger of a kit, that was. Need more Britball kits like that, man.
I don't know if you ever played the Northumberland Lightning. Or if their kit was absolutely rancid. It was like bright yellow helmets, but then it was like red and yellow, which doesn't sound that bad, but it was like bright red to the point it was almost orange, and then this bright yellow, and it was horrible. And then when they played the Carlisle Sentinels and that like peppermint green navy combo they had, it made me nauseous every time I see teams next to each other. But no, Sean picked Manchester, by the way, against Newcastle. He picked the Blitz against Solent, and he's went for Inverclyde against Glasgow. And in this game, he has went for the Yorkshire Rams, so he's went against us in this one too. So at least between me and Sean, one of us is going to be right, so it's not too bad on this one.
No.
Then there's the Sheffield Giants and the Chester Romans. I am worried about the Giants. I am, which is sad. I still think the Romans are one of the front runners in this division. I was surprised at how tough they found Humber. Not that I expected Humber to just roll over, but it was a lot closer than I expected. And yeah, I don't see anything that tells me that Sheffield will beat Chester in this game.
So obviously Chester lost quite a few guys in the off season, and a lot of their offensive line. I know went to Manchester, so those are key positions that you have to try and replace. Is this the kind of game that the Giants can win? I don't know. Like I want to go with Romans, but I don't know. I'm going to go with Giants. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Giants getting a tight win and just opening that division up a tiny little bit for them, Humber and Romans, just to make the division.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Sean's also back in the Romans in this division as well, so there's that. Then into the NFC 1 Midlands, we've got Shropshire Revolution and the Leicester Panthers. I'm just going to go back in here just to make sure I've not missed too many comments. No, just that he was off playing golf. Hey, I think the Oxford Saints... Do the Oxford Saints play this week? I don't think they do they?
Yeah, they're playing Dreadnoughts, aren't they?
Oh, yes. So that joke is good this week because the Saints yeah, so we have the Shropshire Revolution and the Leicester Panthers. And Sean has a bit of a tumultuous relationship with the Revolution. He said they weren't in. Look at that. It's even worse. It's actually the game on Sport. My bad.
Man. Sean, come back.
I was just hoping Aaron would say that so I could plug Sportank's live stream against Oxford. Yeah, okay. The worst part, I actually knew they were playing. I just couldn't think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, so the Shropshire Revolution and Sean don't always see eye to eye. He did pick them to be a contender for Division 1 in 22. They were very angry at him and made that very vocal about it, only to not win a game and get relegated. So one thing you don't do is, don't talk shit and then put up a big...
I was going to say, you're trying to scare me into picking Panthers.
But then they did well last year, and then they got a win against Birmingham last time out. So, yeah, I mean, but I don't think we've seen Leicester this year, have we?
No, they're kind of entering their new phase, aren't they? Of fresh team, fresh backroom staff, and all that stuff that went on there. And regardless, Leicester are always a tough game anyway. Going back years and years, they've always been. It's always one team that I've always looked at. And if we face them on the calendar, I've always been. It's going to be a battle, that is. Yeah. So, but Rev have got some real good guys. It was a good win against Bulls as well. Good win that was.
That's a good win. The Bulls are no sluggish themselves. They're no pushovers. So I was impressed with that win for sure. But I keep thinking Leicester are still Leicester, and when they drop down, there's going to be that pickup. But I don't know. I probably would never have picked Shropshire, but now I'm not sure. But I think for this week, I'm going to go with Leicester. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say that they're still a decent team, and until they give me a reason to believe that they're not, then and this is the point, right? Again, mixed messages coming out of Leicester. They're a bit of an enigma. Until we see them take the field, we know next to nothing about them, right? And from someone in the, I don't want to say the media because it's a bit of an excessive.
The media.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say that.
Big time. Yes, made it big time.
But you know what I mean? From someone who likes to cover the games and do this side of things, it is very unhelpful that a lot of teams aren't willing to tell you anything. But that's Britball for you.
Britball secrets, man. Everyone's got them. Everyone likes to keep it stush. And
for some reason, people seem to think that if a team knows that they've recruited somebody from somewhere, then the jig's up, and you're just like, oh no, it's just not like that, is it? No. I'm going to back Leicester. I'm going to wait and see if I'm proven wrong on that one. Sean has also backed Leicester on this one, so
I'm going to go Rev purely because I think having the football games under your belt already is always a big thing. You've had a couple of weeks to iron creases out. They had a good win against the Bulls, which would have been a physical battle. I'm going to go Rev because I think the games under the belt already is something definitely worth having in the corner.
For sure. Having that first game under your belt is massive. You do all the practice and stuff, and even your preseason games, if you get them in, it's not the same. It's not the same intensity. No. That playing the football games to start, it does matter. And I do actually value that as well. But that's why I normally say in week one, you don't expect to see many points. And then you had the Blitz v the Cats and there was another few games. I mean, even yourselves as well, throwing that statement straight under the bus. So thank you for that. I appreciate that one.
What we're here for, man. Don't worry about it.
But this is what I'm saying. We're coming to this year, and I'm just my performance isn't great. I'm just letting the side down at the moment.
Just warming up. That's all it is.
Yeah, all you can do is get 1% better every day. Am I right?
So, hey, there we go. There we go.
that's all we can do. Right, on to the SFC 1 East. We have another contender for Game of the Week: the East Kent Mavericks and the London Olympians. And
this is the Game of the Week. This is.
Now, see, just bear in mind as well, I always like to put this reminder, our Game of the Week, we've put down what we think is going to be the closest game, not necessarily the game to watch, right? So when we pick, it gives it a bit more variety, right? Otherwise, you'd be picking a lot of Prem games every week, as your Game of the Week.
Yeah, of course.
So, but yeah, I mean, again, this one was highly considered because... division deciding not already, but potentially setting out a division winner in this
this is the game you want early on to see where the division could potentially go. I think this game is one of those where absolutely anything could happen either way. I've got boys on both sides. Coach Murray, head coach of the Olympians, has been a real good mentor to me. He's there for me all the time. We have a lot of chats. On the other side, the Mavs, working with coaches at GB, and their receiver core is undeniably legit. This is the Game of the Week one easily.
Yeah. Have you got a side on it?
Yeah, it's going to be a tie.
It's going to be a tie. You're going for that.
I
thought I was sitting on the fence.
100% it's going for a tie. 100% it's going for a tie.
I mean, as I say,
I can have ties, can't I?
Yeah,
it's a tie.
100%. Ties happen in Britball. I've been in a tie myself, actually. Yeah, ties do happen in Britball. Saying that, I've been in 2 ties. I've tied twice.
I saw the one because when we was in the division last year, I watched the opening game of the season where Chester drew. I think the 6-6 with the Bulls, but it was like hammering it down and like no one could move the ball. So they definitely do happen. But I'm going to go for like a nice, I don't know, 27-27 tie, like legit game of the week. Highlights left, right, and centre.
I like it.
No one knows where the division's going until they play each other again. This is it, man.
I like it. Again, like I paid attention to the Olympians. I like the program. What it's been doing. They've been, again, another program that fell on difficult times, right, and really had to work to build it back up. Man. But then the Mavericks have recruited so much as well, and they just keep adding as well to that. So I'm gonna pick a side. I'm gonna go with the Mavericks. I'm gonna back the Mavs.
Who's Sean gone for?
Sean's picked the Mavericks as well. That's partly why I was tempted just to side Olympians, so we're on opposite sides of it. But I don't know.
I don't think anyone who picks either side he's going to be wrong. Like I think you would have like a legit game here where both you got two great coaching staffs, two great teams going at each other. Whether it comes down to fine margins, who's got those clutch catches, who can make that game-saving tackle on defense. This is definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be keeping an eye on this one tomorrow. That is absolutely for sure. The London Hornets and the Wembley Stallions in the SSC 1 Central. I sided with the Stallions against the Knights and they let me down last week.
They scored points, though.
It was a good game. It was a really good game. It's difficult because I can't be too harsh on them because the Knights are a better team than, say, the previous year let on, right? There was a lot. I believe there was a lot of behind-the-scenes things going on there that probably led to what was a bit of a, for lack of a better expression, a shit show at points during their season. So, no shame in the loss in that game. As I say, they put up points. The Knights had already played a game, whereas Wembley hadn't. I don't think we've seen the Hornets this year.
No, this is the first game of the season. Probably.
Yeah. And is it a big enough factor? I'm going to say yes. I think Wembley win this week.
I've got Stallions down for this. I think when you can show you can put up that many points in week one against a good team as well, I think it just rolls really nicely into the next week. I think it'll be a real good. I'm not going to say easy for them, but I think if they want to establish themselves as a team that they want to be, I think this is a sort of game where you come in, you open, it's their opener of the Hornets. I really think if the Stallions want to be those guys and challenging the division this year, that this is a game they need to win, and I think they will.
Yeah, I like it. And we also have the Oxford Saints and the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts, who I didn't call the Destroyers this time. I actually got this one right.
Call them the Destroyers. It's down. We're cool with that. There was a few rumblings that people thought they might actually beat the Knights in week one. But again, the Knights aren't the team that we've seen last year. I think that's more than fair. Oxford, another team that had kind of fallen on tough times. They've really worked to improve. I love the Saints organization. Their field is immaculate as well, which is good. But again, I'm gonna go with that Dreadnoughts having that game under their belt. They still put in a decent enough performance. If they'd have done this, if they've replicated their first half, I think they could have come close to winning that game. And obviously, like Coach Gibbs down there now with the offense, I've got Dreadnoughts all day in this. I really like the Dreadnoughts in this one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, as I say, I'm gonna go with the Dreadnoughts on this one as well. And Sean, as he went with the Stallions in the last one, and he has sided with the Oxford Saints, and so he's going with that. He's he's hoping that their quarterback's not golfing. So he's got faith in the Oxford Saints this week. So we'll give it that. The SFC 1 West. Now I am already going to declare that the SFC 1 West is the was it the SFC 1 Central last year that had the Cheetahs and the Hornets and the Stallions?
Yes.
I hate this division already. So yeah, no offense to any of the teams in it. I don't hate you directly. I just know I'm going to absolutely despise this division because honestly, and I've spelled Bournemouth wrong.
Production value again. Sean's not here. Sean would never have allowed that to happen.
Is it an E? There is an E in it, isn't there? Yeah, I'm dyslexic. I'm going to blame it. I'm going to blame it on my lack of ability to spell. The Bournemouth Bobcats and the Bristol Apache. So when we're speaking about about the Mavericks, I'd heard about this as well. Former guy formerly of the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Nice.
I heard about that. I thought we were getting a repeat of the UW Bullets signing the ELF MVP for their season.
What a signing that was!
I know. Like as soon as it came out, I was like, two questions. First of all, why?
I know Dan Mayer quite well. We played together at youth and junior level for the Bulls, and then I went and spent some time with him when I got back from Oshkosh this year. And I said to him, I was like, "How have you got like the ELF MVP?" And he's like, he gets a chance to further his education, which number one is the most important thing, but two, he's just loving playing football. UWE doesn't have the pressure that Rainfire have, and he said that. He was just loving the fact that like he could come in and play,
backyard ball,
football,
right?
Like football for the love of it, and like everyone was gassed, and like he was being able to do like there was almost that sense of freedom. Like UWE run a real tight ship, and like they've got some, it's not easy running a team like that. But he said that he come in and like he was just loving life, being able to play that sort of football.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it. But it's just it was baffling when it came through. Like, hey, not in a bad way. I'm not criticizing UW at all. It was just one of those. It was just like, all right. I mean, you just finished.
I'm all here for
it. The Rainfire.
I mean,
and then you're just shredding up some students who are like, this will be a nice beer league to go enjoy and get absolutely ripped.
Those fresh-faced rookie DBs for the Cardiff Cobras who are like, has this kid ever played football before? And he's like, watch this, 11 touchdowns in a game. Yes.
Meanwhile, they're sitting there going, well, it was a good day for the lads. We got thank you for this one, Aaron. This one really pissed me off getting this one. So I'm sure Swindon will be dining out on me picking against them and turning out being an idiot. So so anyway, we're on to the Bobcats and the Bristol Apache.
Yes.
The Apache look like probably the team to beat in this division, right? I mean,
I think that area of football at the minute is thriving in the UK. You know the guys with the universities and obviously the Aztecs and stuff and all that. Like, I think it's just a great time to be in Bristol football.
Yeah.
I've got the Apache in this one.
Yeah, and I especially after seeing Bournemouth at home sort of lose to South Wales, I expect Apache to win. Just, I know we don't really talk about Uniball on this, but when we're speaking about sort of like that area and that, what did you make of the SGS Pride not joining that Super Prem or whatever it was that for the Uni League? The Pride staying down in the normal division.
I don't know. Obviously, I can't speak for them. I think that when you want to be put into a league with Gold and UWE, or do you want to like continue to have that element of being able to win things I don't know. Like, I can't speak for the university. I think that if you are a top university, and like I would, if I was a university team playing like in that top, in that top league, I would want to play UW every week. Like, you play those dudes, your game gets better. You understand. You start to understand football more. The comment from Gary there, like, I think that they potentially want to win games. So, and going up, they wouldn't, it's difficult.
I don't want to, like, as I say, I'm not out here to be harsh on them. I was curious because I seen it and I was quite surprised by it, and I seen there was a few other people that seemed quite surprised by it as well. Just when we're talking about sort of that area and that. But yeah, no, I appreciate you kind of answering to that. The Hereford Stampede and the Somerset Wyverns. Another one of those games that just flat out annoying to me, I guess. You're sort of looking at it, and if I go into the games so far, so it's obviously it's in Hereford as well, and I mean, Hereford, lost comfortably to the Apache, but then so did the Wyverns. But then the Wyverns beat South Wales after they beat Bournemouth. I mean, hey, please don't get me wrong. This is what we want, right? You want competitive football. You want it.
Yeah.
The more I'm wrong, right, the more it means that the division's probably competitive and the football's competitive. So I'm good with it. But I mean, I'm going to back the Wyverns. I like the Wyverns. I don't have anything against Hereford, although I'm pretty sure they came out to a game rocking some weird, like, pink and white. Was it them that maybe did it?
Is it the
their away kit? Is it not the away kit? Not the purple one. The purple one's
it's like it looks like a QR code, doesn't it? But it's like
but it's like pink or something like that. It's like pink and
I'm
grey.
I'm here for it. It's grey with pink trim and pink numbers. I'm here for it. Put it up in there.
I'm not down with it at all. I just seen it and I was like,
there.
I think I replied to them when I seen the pictures of it, and I said something along the lines of, I just want to talk to whoever was responsible for this abomination. You know what I mean? It's like grey and pink digi camo. Yeah. No, I'm not okay with it. Especially since the home kit is so clean. It is so good.
Get that. Get the Humber Warhawks with their red and green out. Let's just have a Britball kit Hall of Fame. And we can put those two in there straight away.
The thing is, I actually did an article before on what I thought were like the top and the bottom kits in Britball a couple of years back, and threw myself right under the bus when I stated that I didn't like camo uniforms. And spoke about the Cheetahs having a camo uni, and then they told me it was for a military appreciation game.
No,
but I did state when I said it that that's the time it's acceptable, but then they informed me that that's what it was for.
I'd also say as well, like, when you rock camo uniforms, they look sick if you've got all the accessories with them as well. So the gloves, the boots, the socks, like the towels. But in Britball, you'll get like the camo uniforms, and then people will wear like fluorescent gloves. And I'm like, are you trying to be seen? Are you not trying to be seen? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I get that as well. Saying that you're speaking about camo uniforms, someone in here must remember that Tynedale Fury uniform. It was camo and had like the massive Union Jack on the shoulder. And it was absolutely disgusting. I'll see if I can find it somewhere. But I remember seeing it and just thinking, that is absolutely horrific. But yeah, so yeah, apart from Hereford's choice of away uniform, I've got nothing against them. I do like the Wyverns. I think the Wyverns will actually win the game, but again, it's going to be close. This division's good. Every game is a toss-up in this division.
Well, we played obviously Hereford pre-season. We have a real good relationship with them. We've played them a couple of pre-seasons on the bounce now. I know that they work hard. I don't know whether I know JJ, their star guy on offense, got injured last week, so I don't know whether he's going to be playing or not, and that for me is a massive barrier if he's not playing because he's their go-to guy. I'm going to take the Wyverns. I think the Wyverns are a real good team. I know a couple of the guys I've signed. I know they're working closely with Exeter Uni, obviously, who won the Div 1 books as well. So I think the Wyverns could make this game a lot more, wider than it a lot of people think. I think they'll win this quite comfortably.
Okay, yeah, no, appreciate that one as well.
But the purple digi camo kit is a winner on its own. So let's just say that.
Well, yes, sure. On to the NFC 2 East, we have the Gateshead Senators and the Wakefield District Raiders.
Chris, someone's just sent me a picture of that kit that you're on about.
The Tyndale Fury one.
It's not real. There's no way that is real.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's absolutely horrendous. Oh, no, I don't know.
That's not... When was this?
I have no idea. I just remember seeing it and just thinking that might be the worst thing I've ever seen.
And why is it not a thing? I'm going to put this up on Twitter the minute we're done on here. Why is this not a thing anymore? That's sensational. Chris, I'm going to send it to you on.
It's so bad. Because I think, I don't think I was aware of it when I wrote my piece, and then it got sent to me, and I was just like, oh my God, so someone should have probably told me about this one before I wrote what I did, because quite frankly, it was absolutely horrendous. It's just, it's not okay. It's just
I don't know if you can get it on. I don't know if you can get it on your computer, but I've just Twitter DM'd it to you.
Let's see if it comes through.
Get this up for the people to see. This is glorious.
It is, So it's really hard to see through there, but you can see the Union Jack on the shoulder, the light blue numbers.
It's only on one shoulder as well.
Yeah, it's just on the one shoulder.
Oh, this is sensational.
It is not good. Bravo. It was so bad. No, thank you. It was not. As I say, I wrote my piece and I was quite satisfied with it, and then somebody sent me that, and I was like, could somebody not have showed me that before I started? Because that is awful.
My source tells me it's 2015.
2015. It was quite a while ago.
2015. Yeah.
It's like one of those things when someone tells you, when you think about 20 years ago, and you're like, oh, yeah, 1980. And it's like, no, actually.
Yeah, it is like now.
2020. It was 2004 or whatever. And not okay with it.
What a kid.
Oh.
I've completely lost track of where we were. I'm just.
So we're on the Gateshead Senators and the Wakefield District Raiders. Senators had a good win against Doncaster Mustangs. Expected win, but a good win nonetheless. We haven't seen Wakefield District Raiders this year. We're actually big fans of the Raiders here. I know Sean is as well. I don't know. I really want to back them to win this game, but the Senators have had a game. They put up points at will. They're in Division 2, and when Gateshead are in Division 2, they turn into this super team, and then they all vanish in Division 1.
Why do you talk yourself out of your picks? You back yourself, Chris.
I never used to doubt myself, but these first 2 weeks have done a lot of damage to my confidence. It's torture. I'll wake up in a cold sweat and everything. I'm going to back the Senators. Just again, going back to that, they've played a game of football and how comfortably they won it. But I would like to see the Raiders do well this year.
Yeah, no, I've got Gateshead as well. I think that they will probably top their division. I think they'll be in or around the promotion contention for the end of the season. So I've gone Gateshead on this one.
Well, Sean has went with Wakefield. He's backed. I think he's went from the heart on this one. I think he
definitely
he wants the Wakefield District Raiders to do well. Still not sure I like the name. I quite like Nottingley. It rolled off the tongue a bit better than Wakefield District. It sounds more like a prison.
But that's what you want. It's all mental games before you've even stepped on the field. That's what.
Yeah, it does. It does. Like I'm sure I had this discussion on the show before, but I was like, it does. It sounds like a prison team, doesn't it? When you see it, the Wakefield District Raiders. Might as well just start calling them the Mean Machine from now on. The big one this week, the NFC 2 West, we have the Lancashire Wolverines and the Sandwell Steelers. Now, obviously, I wouldn't expect you to be making a pick in this game for obvious reasons, but what can you tell us about the two teams?
I'm going to pick Steelers for this game.
I'm dumbfounded.
I'm laying that on the table right now. So me and head coach Ian have been talking a lot in pre-season. I know that he's kind of like taken over. He wanted some advice on like rebuilding and where to come from in terms of like an attitude point of view, a culture point of view. So we've been talking quite a bit throughout pre-season. I'm looking forward to playing them. It's a massive opportunity for us because if we win this game and then we've got Surge next week, there's an opportunity for us to be sitting at the top of the table 3-0, while all the other teams in the division are 0-1. So
and that would be having beaten all three teams, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah,
and that's huge as well, right?
Big opportunity for us. So we are raring to go to get the opportunity to win 2 games on the bounce. The guys are prepared. We are ready. I think it will be. I'm interested to see what version of Lancs we get because I know it's a new coaching staff and a new mentality. Always fast, always physical. So it'll be a good game. It is probably going to be the game of all. Yeah, they're playing in the fluorescent green. On Sunday as well. But I think I've got Steelers for this one, obviously, and I'm sure you and Sean have as well.
So you say about that luminous green kit as well. Like it is such a weird contrast because they're like their home kit is that sort of like black and grey, like it's like very dull but very clean, I guess. But
yeah.
And then their away uniform is just like blinding in the sunlight, sort of like.
Are you not a fan of the fluorescent
green? No, I like the fluorescent green. Actually.
I like it, yeah.
I do like it, but it's just more because it's so different. It's such a huge contrast. I was like, all right, what's that like? A lot of teams you'll see, they'll maybe try and pick like a color that is still relatable to like their first team colors, right?
Yeah.
But this one just went, do you know what?
No,
sack that. We don't want that. Lime green. No. So I'm actually here for that one, believe it or not.
There's only so much you can do with grey and black anyway, so they've done the right thing and went on the other end of the scale.
Well, you see, I have as a self-proclaimed uniform expert here, I have all black uniforms look great. So and all white uniforms look great, which by extension means they're all boring because they all look great.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I'm a fan of the lime green. I will tell you, however, that Sean has backed the Wolverines on this one.
It's unbelievable.
I think that's why he hasn't showed up. I'm telling you. I think I said we had Sam on tonight, and he was like, "I'm just not sure I want any."
No.
I, however, will not. I'll be back in Sandwell Steelers, and that's not just because you're here, because I picked against the Chivas when Craig Barnes was on. I love what you've been doing. I genuinely have been following it as well, and I expect to see an even stronger performance this week than we've seen in week 1. So I'm back.
Like I said, the only thing that we're coming from is it's about teaching the players how to, like, winning is hard. Losing is the easiest thing to do in the world, and winning is so hard. So we've got to get the guys right to get them in that mindset of like winning a second game, and then we can look onto into game 3. So it's a process, and the 1% club is here, and we are ready for tomorrow.
For sure, for sure. And yeah, it'll be good to look forward to and keep an eye on that one as well. The SFC 2 East, we have the Colchester Gladiators and the Ipswich Cardinals on this one. Yeah, would you like to take this one first?
I'm going like Colchester. I think Ipswich are, from the film I've watched of them and what I know of them, I think that they're in a period where I don't think they'll struggle in the division, but I just don't think they've got enough firepower compared to the other guys in the division. And Colchester are all right. They've got some. I know a couple of guys on Colchester, and I feel that they will be professional enough and work the game well enough to come away with a win. So I've got Colchester quite not comfortably on this one, but I'm pretty confident on this one.
Yeah, I'm with Colchester as well. They're coming into the game 2-0. Ipswich are 0-1. I think Colchester have to be looking at sort of being sort of the top of that division. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Glads on this one. I think. But yeah, this is an interesting one. Less than 21 points in this game. I am fully on board with that prediction because I do not think there's going to be many in this.
No.
I feel like this division is going to be kind of like the Essex Sabres of 2 years ago, when it felt like every time I spoke about them, I was like, they won't score many points, but their defense is pretty good. I feel like you're going to feel a lot of this in this division. I think there's not going to be many points, but yeah, I still think Colchester win. Someone says, but which bit's bold? Is that the low scoring, the less than 21 points? Well, we'll see tomorrow. I think that's a Colchester Uni, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's a Glads. Whoever in that photo is wearing a Glads uniform, aren't they? I think so. I think it's maybe their updated one. I can't really tell. But yeah, I expect the Glads to win that game. And we're down to our last one. The under 21. Yeah, I mean it is. But yeah, it's one of those with points. I'm just not sure we're going to see many. The Berkshire Renegades and the Cornwall Monarchs. Now, if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure I picked the Berkshire Renegades to win this division. And Cornwall losing 3-0 to Swindon has set the alarm bells going big style for me.
Yeah.
It's not, again, I know it feels like I'm just hating on Swindon. I'm not, but losing a game 3-0 is never a good sign.
No, it's not. It's because you're like, when you're losing 3-0, like, or if you lose a game 3-0, it's either got to be like one of the best defensive battles of all time, or one of the worst offensive showings of all time. And I just don't think it was like, I just don't see it as like either one of those. I'm just like, maybe like 3-0 is just the level, like that's what it is like. And then like you said, it sends alarm bells ringing.
Yeah, it's just there's something, and I know what you're like. It would be quite easy to say, oh, it was just good defense or whatever, but I don't know. When it's 3-0, it's almost just I don't buy it.
No.
Now I know the Renegades haven't played a game yet, and sort of the Monarchs have played one, but I mean, you're talking about the Storm have played 2 games now, and they've scored 12 points. And it's just a bit like it's I don't know, like 3-0, and then they lost 17-9 to the Monarchs, to the Gladiators, and then they go and they beat the Monarchs 3-0. So you have to sit there and think, well, that Swindon offense really doesn't look that great. No. So yeah, you worry for the Monarchs after that one, and I think they're coming up against what I would say is probably a better team in the Renegades this week.
Yes.
And I think really that's a kind of enough to justify my thinking on that one. I think the Renegades win this game, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as you. I think I don't know, like it doesn't. The Cornwall Monarchs, like it doesn't strike me as that area of the UK as being a thriving hub for. I don't want to say talent. That's a harsh way of putting it, but I really think you've got to dig deep down in that part of the country to get some talent on your roster, because like obviously it's such a gap between there and Bristol and Exeter and I'm with you on this. I've got the Renegades, and I think the Renegades will do the division as well.
I mean, are they not down the way towards Plymouth and that as well? And Torbay?
Yeah,
there's that Plymouth team going through associate process. There's a Torbay team going through the associate process. And when you see that scoreline, you have to think, well, some of those players have probably went to one of the other teams, right? So
absolutely.
I mean, what's it? The Plymouth.
Oh, that was an associate game.
Won 40-10 to the Rossendale Bucks. I mean, I know the Bucks are they're our associate team as well, aren't they?
Yes.
Is Rossendale, is that not one of those that's up near that sort of like Greater Manchester, sort of Lancashire area as well, or am I totally making that up?
You could be making it up, and I wouldn't know. So you can just go with it if you want.
I don't know. I'm sure I seen them a couple of years ago and thought another one up in that area, but I mean, that could be a completely different team at this point. I don't really know.
Like it's like north of Manchester, in between Manchester and Leeds, just south of Burnley, sort of.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I'll leave my rant. Sean, I don't think I said Sean picked Colchester and the Renegades as well, so we're on the same side on that one as well. But yeah, that's all our games for this week. As always, sort of best of luck to all the teams going out there this week. Play safe and all that, and put up some good score lines. And please, the teams that I picked, don't let me down this week. It's been a rough start. I want to start believing my gut again. We can forgive the shoddy production value of me doing it if I start picking right again, but right now I'm doing neither. Maybe that's what I do. Maybe I just start blaming the fact that I'm doing the production side as well, and that's why I'm not.
So you can't forgive 100% onto everything.
I'm going to find every excuse I can at this point, but hopefully I turn this ship around. But Sam, it's been an absolute blast having you on. It's been a real pleasure. Best of luck to Samwell tomorrow. Best luck for the rest of the season as well. And as you know, we'll be keeping an eye on it from my end anyway. Apart from that, thanks again for tuning in, and best luck to all the teams playing tomorrow. We'll see you again next week, hopefully with Sean.